Oi! Oi you! Your performance sucks. Aye. Well, we all know Arma is famous for this, but there's also some good news. Arma 4 has been confirmed. If you'd like to not miss any news, click subscribe, and I will keep you updated. I'm already watching the situation. Anyways, regarding Arma, there's not much we can do, but we will do our best to improve your performance. Okay, let's get into it. Launch settings. Once you have your launcher open, go to the parameters tab. Over here we will be changing the game's startup options and the options the game will be running on. The first one is very simple, skip logos at startup. This will actually save you some seconds, as it will skip the logos at the beginning of the game. Now we will be moving to the advanced section. We'll be focusing on the CPU count. This is how many CPU cores the Arma can utilize. For me personally, I have 6 physical CPU cores. If you are not sure how many CPU cores you have, in bottom left corner, open up your search bar and type in system information. Over at the processor, you can see how many physical CPU cores you have. Next, extra threads. Enable this option. And now enable every single option inside of it. File operations, texture loading, geometry loading. Enable hyperthreading. Enable this option. Memory allocator. Also enable this option if you are running on 64-bit system. Leave the option at Windows allocator. System memory limit. Also enable this feature if you are running 64-bit system. This is how many gigabytes of RAM the game can use. The higher the value, the better. For me personally, I can sacrifice 10 gigabytes of RAM. And the last one is no logs. Just simply enable this feature. The game will not save any logs on your computer. There's one more thing you may try. Open up your Steam. Right click on Arma. Go to properties. Betas. And select profiling build. This is the game build that has not been published yet and it should have better performance. Your game will update and you'll be ready to go. Once you are in your launcher, it should say profiling in the top left corner. That's it, just start the game. Our current focus is to keep the game balanced, so the game still looks good while giving us an improved performance. First option is sampling. Do not touch this feature unless you know what you are doing. Next, textures. Go with high. The game will reload. Objects, high. Terrain, also high. We have currently set the high preset. It's the most balanced one. The game still looks acceptable, while giving us an improved performance in more complex scenarios. Shadows, disabled. Particles. If you're looking for a bit more performance, go with the option low. If you can sacrifice some performance, go with standard. Difference between low and standard is the quality of effects. Unfortunately, the low effects look really bland. Clouds, we do not need them. Go with low. Picture in picture, low. Regarding visibility, this option depends on your needs. Pilots and ground soldiers have different settings, therefore I cannot give you the preset. If you would like to have a dynamic view distance, check out the modded part of this video. If you do not plan on adding mods, I advise you to change the setting to 3 kilometers, 3000 meters, both for visibility and object visibility. Shadows, complete minimum. High dynamic range, low. Dynamic lights, low. Water reflections, disabled. We do not need those. Display mode. Always have this option changed to full screen window. You will avoid more issues in the long run. For example, Arma being stuck in a black screen while tabbing out. I always advise people to enable the VSync. It will sync your frames and the game will look smoother. Unfortunately, there is slight downside. It has very light hit on the performance. But for the testing reasons, I'm gonna disable the VSync. AA and PP. Bloom, minimum. Radial blur, minimum. Rotation blur, also minimum. Depth of field, also to the 0. Sharpening filter. This option does not affect your performance at all. You may change its value according to your liking. Me personally, I prefer the value of 50. The higher the value, the more sharpened your game will look like. The lower the value, the more blurry your game will look like. Post processing and color corrections. These options do not affect your performance at all. You may change them to your liking. Anti-aliasing. The only option we will be changing for balance setup is FSAA. Change this option to 4 times. If you are really looking for the performance, disable this option completely. Mods. They may enhance your gameplay or user performance. They are really easy to install, like any other Steam mod. Just click to subscribe, click to load, and you are ready to go. But these mods do have a downside. You may not use them on every server. If the server has a file checking enabled, you will not be able to join the server unless the mod is on whitelist. In that case, your only option is to contact the system admin to add the mod to the whitelist. But if you are playing single player or co-op with your friends, or on a server that does not have file checking enabled, you may use these mods and enhance your gameplay. First mod is dynamic view distance. This mod automatically changes your view distance according to your playstyle. If you are in a vehicle, if you are flying, or if you are just being on ground, this mod has you covered. It will try to adjust your view distance to match your target FPS. To simply set your overall and object visibility to maximum, shadow to minimum, set your desired FPS target. Also adjust the minimum view distance and the maximum view distance for the mod and enable it. And now watch the magic happen. Next mod is called Advanced Garbage Collector. What it does, it replaces dead bodies with simple objects as body bags. These objects save your performance as bodies require more CPU power to be rendered. When you get close to a body bag, it will change back to a body. This saves a lot of performance. But be aware, this mod is a server-sided mod. It has to be loaded on a server or on a player that is hosting the game. If you do not like the base mod settings, you can also change them in the add-on settings. This mod can also be replaced by an in-game feature, but in that case, you need to know how to set up proper Zeus missions. If you would like to know how, click on the suggested video on the screen. I will explain that over there.